Hello, Brianna. I want to play a game. The rules are simple. I want you to think about the guy you like. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you will see a timer for 1 minute. The game is, you have 1 minute to answer the question. Does he like you or not? If you answer correctly, you live. If you answer incorrectly, the device placed inside of your heart will explode. Live or die. The choice is yours. Your time starts now.
너는 나를 좋아해요? Of course I like you, obviously. I got it. My final answer is yes. My final answer is yes. It's yes.
Your will to live wasn't strong enough. The answer was no.
He said he really liked me. He said of course.
Goodbye, Brianna.
It's her in Korea, and today I am here to tell you guys a story time about how Brianna got her heart broken again for the millionth time because she keeps falling for men who apparently don't want to be in a serious relationship with her. Let's just get into the story. So anyway, as most great romantic stories go in Korea, this one started on Tinder. I was just swiping. This is probably back in like July of 2020. I come across his profile, so I swiped right. And maybe a day or two later, I need to give this person a name. We're gonna call him X. I don't know why, he's just X. That's his name, is X. So X messages me maybe a few days after we match. And after about 3 weeks, we decided to move to Instagram to talk. But yeah, anyway, we talk on Instagram for a month and then we moved to Kakao. And it was around this time when we decided, we're like, oh, we've, been talking for a while. Like, do you want to make plans? Do you want to hang out? We'll just get some burgers and hang out. But anyway, I had asked him if he wanted to hang out with me and my friends on Halloween, and he said yes. So our first hangout when we got burgers was like at the beginning of October or something. And so Halloween comes around and then we take a bus to go to the bar, and I had invited 2 other friends. We all had an experience that night. The 2 people I invited who came late, they just got really drunk and they were talking to everybody around the bar. I don't know, kind of starting fights, and I was like, X is never gonna talk to me again. So the next day we're kind of back to talking like normal, and I'm like, okay, he's just being nice to me because he doesn't know how to tell me that he never wants to hang out with me again. I don't know, I have a lot of anxiety. But thankfully that never happened. Well, I guess not thankfully, I don't know why I said that, because if he had stopped talking to me at that moment, I wouldn't have had to go through all the other BS that I went through. So we keep talking, and then maybe like a week later, we get lunch and hang out. And it really felt like we were hanging out as friends, I guess. But you know when people, you're telling a story and then somebody grabs your hand, or you do something stupid and someone like lightly hits you or like touches you or like on your shoulder or something. Like he started doing that on this particular hangout, and I was like, okay, maybe he likes me. Like we were sending each other good morning and good night texts like all the time. We were texting every single day, literally every single day, multiple messages a day, new conversations every day. Like it felt like we always had something to talk about. There was never a day where I was like, I have nothing to say to him. What do I say? Like always something to talk about, and that just made me really happy. I was like, oh, this conversation's never gonna die. So I'm planning on going back to America to visit for a little bit. So X is like, oh, before you go back, like let's hang out. And I'm like, cool. So I'm planning on, getting turned up with Grace. You want to come and do that with us? And he's like, sure, can I invite a friend? I was like, yeah, invite your friend. So the night comes and we all meet at this meat place and we get barbecue, and we're all drinking, having a good time. After we left barbecue, we went to a bar, and then we decide to go to another bar. So if you live in Korea, you know Thursday party, And about halfway to Thursday party, I realized, I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't have my phone. Because I had remembered while walking up the stairs at the other bar, I had dropped my phone. I immediately turned to Grace. I'm like, Grace, I left my phone at the other bar. I gotta go right now. So I just run. I don't tell the boys. I'm like, I gotta go. And then X is like, oh my goodness, like ask Grace, where'd Brianna go? And so Grace like, Brianna left her phone at the bar. And then immediately, apparently, he just ran down the street to look for me. So I had ended up getting lost on my way to the bar, and I had to retrace my steps. I eventually get to the bar, and I see X standing outside there, and he's on his phone. He's looking panicked, and then he's just like, oh my God, blah, 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 blah. I was looking for you. I was like, what are you doing here? And he's like, go get your phone. Like, it looked like he was relieved that, you know, I hadn't, you know, died or whatnot. So I get my phone, and we're walking back, just having a normal conversation. Pause. Okay, pause. While we're walking back after I find my phone, apparently Grace and his friend were outside a Thursday party having a conversation waiting for us to get back. The friend asked Grace like, oh, does Brianna like X? And Grace was like, does X like Brianna? He was like, the thing about X is if he likes a girl, he has trouble making the first move. Like, he usually won't make the first move. And Grace was like, oh great, because that's literally how Brianna is. And then his friend was like, and he's also really worried about how busy he is with his job and things like that. So he's got a lot of worries, and that was kind of his answer. And then apparently they had both come to the conclusion like, okay, well, we got to do something. We got to like push them together, like get them to like be together. And apparently that's when we showed back up again. So the next day, Grace is like, so Brianna, what are you gonna do? Because X clearly likes you and you gotta do something about it. So I'm like, okay, I'll try to get a little bit more flirty. So me and Grace are spending the whole day, I'm kind of hungover though, but still spending the whole day trying to flirt with X and get a conversation started and all that. Anyway, then I returned home to America, and we're still talking every day, even though we're on different time zones. So a few weeks later, I'm still at home in America. He had asked me if there was a bar in the city he lived in, because he lives kind of in a smaller city and I used to live in that city. And he's like, do you know any bars here? I was like, oh, there's this one bar I know of, it's called this, and like it's not like super crazy or anything, but it's fun. And anyway, he's telling me about the night he had at the bar. He's like, oh, it's so crazy, like these girls flirted with me and blah blah blah, and it was the first time anybody ever flirted with me in like a year. And I was like, I'm texting Grace the whole time this is going on. I was like, Grace, what do I say? And then we decided to come up with, because I've definitely been flirting with you over the last year. And he's like, oh, were you flirting with me? And I was like, yes, LOL. And he's like, haha, I didn't notice, but I kind of knew you liked me. And I was like, so then my question was, oh yeah, I do like you. I just want to know, do you like me? And this part I have to read, because this is the worst response I've ever gotten to if somebody likes me or not. The answer is worse than a no. He said, I like you as a friend, or little more sometimes. He made a typo. He meant little more sometimes. What does little more sometimes mean? So you like me on Sundays and not the rest of the week? You like me from 5 a.m. to 3 p.m. and not later? Like, I wish he would have just said no. Like, I just continued on like normal, and we kept talking like normal and whatnot. So I get back to Korea, and the day I get out of quarantine, he's like, we have to hang out. So we go and get some like Vietnamese soup, and then we get like gelato, and we're just hanging out and having fun. But I still had a crush on him, and I felt like he was still being rather flirty while hanging out with me and in the text messages, and I was just so confused. So we planned this day for him to come over, and I made him tacos. Like, it was just me and him chilling in my apartment, and we were just talking and having fun, and we were drinking a little bit, and we were having a fun, good time. We start listening to each other's favorite songs or whatever, and we're sitting on the sofa, and I felt like, oh, there's a lot of flirting coming from his end. As we're listening to his favorite songs, he's like, oh, can I put my head in your lap? And I'm like, haha, sure. But we were just like cuddling on the sofa and talking about everything and anything. And it was at this point I was like, okay, I know this is not what friends do, okay? This is not how friends act. So then he's like, oh, speaking Korean, like let's talk in Korean, blah, blah, blah. And I asked him, I was like, do you like me? Like, as more than a friend? And his immediate response was like, oh my goodness, and like, you know, did the gentle like push or grab or flirty touching your arm thing. Like, of course I like you. Like, why would you think I didn't like you? Blah, blah, blah. And so I explained to him the night with his friend and Grace and what his friend had said to Grace and everything, and I explained, I was like, this is why I thought you didn't like me. And then I was like, and when I was back in America, you said you only liked me a little bit. And he's like, yeah, I didn't mean it like that. Like, I really like you. Like, he's like, I really like you. It seemed like he was getting panicky. I was like, we don't have to talk about dating or anything. I just want to know if you liked me. So he eventually had to leave, and we give this long dramatic hug as he's leaving, and I kind of felt like we were both looking at each other like, should we kiss each other? And you know, I was kind of like, we're shy, we're both shy, and we didn't do it. But we did give this hug, and he left, and then he kind of ran into Grace in the hallway as he was leaving, and he was all flustered. So we're still talking like every day for like a month after that or whatever. We hang out a couple more times. The next time I see him, he actually ended up paying for my dinner. I was getting all excited. I was like, okay, that's like really cool. And we like flirted more or whatever. And I'm kind of thinking like, okay, I'm not gonna push like a relationship. Like, I don't want to stress him out or anything. Like, we'll just take this as it goes and see what happens. And one day I asked him what he's doing on like a Sunday or something. He's like, oh, I'm going on this date. You're going on a date? And I'm kind of taken aback. I'm kind of salty. I was like, I thought we liked each other. I didn't say that, but I'm like, okay, like, we're not actually in a relationship, so I can't actually be mad about this. But I was kind of salty. I was like, we didn't even have a conversation about what we were gonna be. So I was really confused as to why he was going on dates. But I didn't want to push anything. Like, I was trying to read the room, and we continued to have the conversation. I was like, okay, maybe the next time I see him, I'll ask him about this. So I ended up not seeing him for a while, and I asked him another weekend what he's doing, and he's like, oh, I started dating with this girl. Like dating, or like just like dating? I was really confused. So I actually ended up, like, I stopped talking to him for like a week, and we were talking every single day. But I was just upset. I was like, I gotta take a step back and like think about this. So I do that. And then I was like, okay, like I really want to talk about this, and I like care about him, and I want to be friends with him still. Like, so I messaged him just being like, hey, how's it going? He's like, oh, things have been going so good for me, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, when you're free, like if you're free, let's get coffee this Sunday or Saturday, I don't remember. And I was like, ooh, I'm getting my wisdom teeth on Friday, but I was like, I gotta go and talk to him and have this conversation. So I get my wisdom teeth out on Friday. I'm dying, okay? Like, my face, oh, I just felt like I was dying. But I'm like, nope, still pushing through to have this conversation. So Saturday I show up, face looking like a balloon, and I realized that there's no way I could have this conversation with him because I was feeling so self-conscious. I don't even know why. I went to this coffee. So after I had hung out with him that time at the cafe, we gave each other a hug as we left, and I kind of was thinking in my head, I was like, I'm never gonna see this man again. Like, I'm never gonna see him again. Because as he was telling me about this girl, I just felt like such an awkward vibe, and I know he felt it too. Like, I was like, why are you telling me this after we've had this year of mixed signals, and like we finally established that we liked each other, and now you're dating other people? And it just all felt so awkward to me, and I know he felt it too because I could see the look on his face as he was telling me about this girl. And you know, I liked you, and I thought you liked me too, and I'm just so confused. Eventually I'm like, nah, I gotta get an answer, I gotta get a response. So I didn't have the guts to text him, so I give my phone to Grace. I was like, text him. And I'm just like, oh, I was curious about the way things worked out with us, and I was like really confused about all the mixed signals. I explained that I really liked him a lot, but he seems to be dating a lot of other people these days. And then I was like, so can I ask why we never talked about dating? And his response was, oh, I just didn't want to be in a relationship. And to the message where I was like, I really liked you a lot, blah, 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 but you seem to be dating a bunch of other people these days, he's like, not a lot, only 2. Now is 1. So he's like, I think we should talk in person. So I respond to the I didn't want to be in a relationship. I was like, can I ask why? He reads it within like a minute, doesn't respond for like 4 or 5 days. And I'm like, excuse me, sir. So I'm posting on Instagram, like on my story. I see he's still checking my story. And then one day I see he hasn't checked my story. So I'm like, why? So I go to his profile to see that he's unfollowed me, Grace, and my cat. And I'm like, I get it. I get why you unfollowed me. I get why you unfollowed Grace, kind of, even though I didn't unfollow your friend. But my cat, what did my cat do? Kisan. Okay, I kind of see why you unfollowed my cat, but like, come on, bro. Like, once he unfollowed like everybody, to me, that was I'm not having this conversation with you. I don't want to have this conversation with you. I offered for you to talk in person, but you didn't want to do that. Now I'm not responding. He literally could have said when I said, can I ask why? He could have been like, no, can we just talk in person? Like, I really think we should talk in person. Like, he could have responded that way and I would have been like, okay, let's talk in person. And maybe like a week later, I decided to send this long message, like really long message, because I knew he was never gonna answer me or talk to me again. But I was like, just to get this off my chest, I need to say it and you need to read it. So long story short, I basically was just like, I don't think it's cool how you're playing with my feelings and sending all these mixed signals, and you flirted with me too and you said you liked me too, and if you just wanted to be friends, you shouldn't have flirted with me. You shouldn't have said you liked me. You shouldn't have done these things. Like, we could have just been friends. So after I sent that, you know, long message and was like, please don't respond, about a week later, you know, he decided to block me on Kakao, which is fine, you know. I had planned on, you know, never talking to him again or him ever talking to me again, but I care about him. I care about him as a person, and it really hurt my feelings that he was just willing to drop me with no explanation, like no explanation at all, and it really hurts. Like, I was like, I thought we were friends, like we talked about everything and I shared so much of my life with him. But yeah, that's the end of my story, and if you think I'm crazy for this whole situation or whatever, just, you know, let me know your thoughts about this story, please. Yeah, make sure to give this video a like, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.